With only 8 races left, we are now in the final leg of the championship and both titles are still on the line. Hey everyone, James Chambers here for On Track GP. The Italian Grand Prix is in the rearview mirror with Ferrari clinching a thrilling victory as Charles Leclerc secured their win. Meanwhile, Mclaren let another potential race win slip through their fingers. But now it's time to shift our focus to the upcoming Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku. After the thrills of Monza, another race follows on a track with high-speed profile but with a huge technical challenge in between. A race rarely short of drama and a street circuit with plenty of overtaking opportunities, though with the wider cars this may not be quite the case. We'll be going over the track, strategy and predictions, so don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more F1 insights. Let's get into it. First up, our Baku circuit overview. Baku presents a unique challenge for its diverse layout. In length, it is the second longest track on the calendar behind Spa-Francorchamps and boasts a straight of 2.2 kilometres, double the main straight of Monza, preceded by a sector with very fast corners from which one exits around at a very high speed. The first sector features a series of 90-degree turns followed by the iconic castle section, essentially a narrow roadway which is a very dangerous and typical feature of city tracks. Undoubtedly the most evocative area of the circuit is the one closest to the fortifications, i.e. turns 8 and 12. It will therefore be fundamental for the teams to find the right aerodynamic setup for the straight and subsequently for the guided sections of the track. With the new single-seaters 20 centimetres wider already in 2017, the challenge proved to be even more demanding, not only to navigate the 1,000-year-old walls of the old city, but also to find the best possible setup that guarantees speed and maximum load capacity. The final part of the lap throws a barrage of corners at the drivers before culminating in an incredibly long straight. This circuit demands a delicate balance between straight line speed and cornering grip. Due to the abundance of low-speed corners, I anticipate that Red Bull might struggle here, while McLaren and Ferrari should excel. It is also a new place in the calendar for Baku this year. Typically, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix is held in the spring months, but from this year onwards, the Formula 1 calendar has been slightly adjusted. With 24 races to be spread over 12 months, this season of F1 is like none before. Formula 1 had restructured the calendar with the intention of concentrating as many races as possible in Europe, making the 2024 season more sustainable for the teams. By moving Japan to April, Azerbaijan to September and pairing Qatar and Abu Dhabi, this year's schedule allows for better flow of races in specific regions of the world. This way, teams, especially mechanics, engineers and drivers, can manage the races more effectively from a logistical standpoint. The Baku Grand Prix is the last in a series of races in Europe. From Singapore, the teams will move abroad, returning later in the final 2 rounds in the Middle East. This year, the 2024 F1 calendar has also been designed to accommodate Ramadan, the sacred holiday for Muslims. This also goes for the first 2 races of the season in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. As we're talking about the track, it's worth mentioning raceability, or the potential lack of it. One question that has not appeared to be getting addressed in this season is the clear drop-off in raceability of these cars. The warning signs were there in 2023 and they were becoming harder to follow, but the fact that on tracks like Spa you have drivers complaining about lack of free air should be concerning. This was definitely on display even in the race in Monza, where overtaking was just not easy. Heading to the F1 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, it will be interesting to see if there's an impact, especially since the last time we raced in Baku, the race just wasn't that good. So what tyre strategy and overtaking opportunities can we expect? Pirelli is bringing their softest tyre compounds, C3 hard, C4 medium and C5 soft. Despite appearances, the wear isn't typically severe here. Last year saw mostly one-stop strategies, and to be honest, I expect a similar approach this time around, especially if you're Ferrari. Overtaking, surprisingly, isn't as straightforward as the long straight might suggest. Last year, there was just 23 on-track overtakes. There are 2 DRS zones to aid passing, but the nature of the circuit tends to spread the field out. This year's regulations might make overtaking generally trickier, and we might not see a plethora of on-track passes. Here's hoping it's more than 23. A quick bit of lap time history and some expectations for the weekend. Last year's pole position time was a 1:41.359 set by Charles Leclerc. The fastest lap of the race was 1:43.370 courtesy of George Russell. A quick bit of podium and team history for Baku. Sergio Perez leads the pack with 2 driver victories, while Red Bull tops the team victories with 4. Charles Leclerc has shown his qualifying prowess with 3 pole positions, contributing to Ferrari's team leading with 4 poles at Azerbaijan. The fastest laps have been evenly distributed, with Seb Vettel, Valtteri Bottas, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez and George Russell each claiming one, while Ferrari leads teams with 2. Perez has also demonstrated remarkable consistency, achieving 4 podium finishes. Red Bull, however, stands out with an impressive 16 podiums, showcasing their dominance on this challenging street circuit. Could this be the weekend where we see a Sergio Perez resurgence? A change to the grid for Baku. Ollie Bearman is set to replace Kevin Magnussen at Haas for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, following Magnussen's race ban due to accumulating 12 penalty points on his super licence. This opportunity comes as Bearman prepares for his full-time role for Haas in 2025, partnering with Esteban Ocon. The decision allows Bearman to gain valuable experience with the team before his official debut next season in Australia. Bearman, currently competing in F2 and serving as a reserve driver for both Haas and Ferrari, will miss the F2 races in Baku to participate in the Grand Prix. This will be his second F1 race following an impressive debut earlier this year when he substituted for Carlos Sainz at Ferrari in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, finishing 7th. Bearman has also been preparing for F1 through FP1 sessions with Haas throughout the current season. The young British driver expressed his readiness for the challenge, citing his previous F1 experience and familiarity with the Haas VF24 car. Haas team principal Ayo Komatsu expressed excitement about Bearman's participation, highlighting his promising performances in previous outings and the valuable opportunity for both the driver and the team to work together throughout an entire race weekend. Magnussen is expected to return for Singapore Grand Prix with a clean super licence record for his likely final 7 Grand Prix in F1. Let's hope not for K-Mag's sake. So what about the midfield battle? Aston Martin is desperately seeking a turnaround after a pointless outing in Monza. They'll likely be embroiled in a tight scrap with Williams and Haas. I'm tipping Williams to edge ahead as the 5th best team, with Alex Albon leading the charge. I'm expecting Haas, Williams and Aston Martin to be in the fight for the 7th to 10th places. As for the front runners, Mercedes should maintain their position as the 3rd fastest team, but the stop-start nature of Baku might not play to their strengths. Still, Mercedes could outpace Red Bull here. Ferrari are entering Baku on a high. Charles Leclerc has a great track record here, especially in qualifying. The softer tyre compounds should suit them well, but can they match McLaren's race pace? McLaren squandered another potential win in Monza, but Baku presents another golden opportunity. Their car's characteristics should shine through, particularly in preserving the tyres. While they might not secure pole, their race pace should be formidable. McLaren, while boasting the fastest car and 2 equally matched drivers, grapples with team order complications as Oscar Piastri's performances potentially impact Lando Norris's title bid. When questioned after the race in Monza about the papaya rules, Zak Brown gave a generic answer which could have been given at almost every situation between the teammates. After the race, Andrea Stella said that there will be a consideration given to the fact that both the titles are on the table. Whether that happens is still a question mark, but one thing is clear. The team cannot approach the F1 Azerbaijan GP without clarity. A lot will depend on how McLaren approaches the upcoming weekend. Red Bull faces a tough weekend ahead. The abundance of slow speed corners has been their Achilles heel this season. We might need another Verstappen masterclass to keep them in the top 5, and they are becoming rarer. Red Bull faces significant challenges on these street circuits. The team's rigid aerodynamic concept struggles with aggressive curb and bump riding, so this has been evidenced by Max Verstappen's frustrations from as far back as Monaco. With in-season architectural changes off the table, Red Bull's current performance slump could see them lose their long-held lead in the Constructors' Championship after Azerbaijan. The team could be the 4th fastest this weekend, which won't sit well with Max Verstappen. But are Ferrari the dark horses going into round 17 and heading towards the end of the season? Ferrari has emerged as a serious contender in the 2024 Championship with 3 victories at Melbourne, Monaco and Monza. These tracks share characteristics that bode well for Ferrari's performance in the upcoming Azerbaijan and Singapore Grand Prix. The SF24's strengths in aggressive curb riding and excellent traction out of slow corners align perfectly with the demands of these circuits. With Ferrari trailing Red Bull by just 39 points and McLaren by 31 in the Constructors' Championship, these races could be pivotal in reshuffling the standings. Baku's layout, featuring a series of 90-degree corners and narrow castle sections, seems tailor-made for Ferrari, particularly favouring Charles Leclerc. The Monegasque driver has secured pole position in his last 3 visits to Azerbaijan, though victory has eluded him due to mechanical issues and Red Bull's dominance. Singapore's Marina-based circuit, where Ferrari and Carlos Sainz broke Red Bull's winning streak last season, presents another golden opportunity for the Scuderia to shine. For Ferrari, the primary concern in the Azerbaijan-Singapore double-header will be tyre management. While the SF24 is generally kind to its Pirelli rubber, benefiting race pace, it can struggle in qualifying when track temperatures are low and the surface is green. This issue is more pronounced in Baku due to the long straights allowing the tyre temperatures to drop, whereas Singapore's constant turning may mitigate this problem. Despite these challenges, Ferrari's only pole position on merit this season came through Leclerc in Monaco, suggesting that the team could still excel in qualifying at these upcoming street circuits. Okay, time for my predictions for Baku, and let's face it, they can't be worse than my last 2 weeks' worth. For the midfield, I'm backing Nico Hülkenberg to do good things in the Haas, but also expect Alex Albon to get the best out of his Williams. I think Aston Martin will continue to find themselves in the midfield and closer to Williams and RB than McLaren and Red Bull. Moving up the grid, I think McLaren will have addressed their perceived infighting and got that under control, but I expect Ferrari and Mercedes to have a really good presence here too. For my top 5, in 5th, I'm putting Lewis Hamilton. I'm going to say another frustrating 4th place for Max Verstappen. 3rd will go to Oscar Piastri. 2nd will be Charles Leclerc. And I'm backing Lando Norris to take the victory in Baku. However, some things will have to fall into place, like his race starts, pit strategy and tyre deg. Fastest lap will go to Oscar Piastri because he'll be in 3rd and have that opportunity. It's starting to look like Lando Norris is stronger than Max Verstappen, and with the business part of the season upon us, McLaren will no doubt be aiming to clinch both championships. So what are your thoughts? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe for more F1 content. I've been Jamie Chambers, this has been On Track GP. Keep your pedal to the metal and I'll see you in the next video.